Hey everyone, please support what I do to help keep Greyhawk alive by subscribing to the channel. Also, please consider becoming a channel member to get early access to videos, exclusive live chats, quarterly adventure modules, and more. Thanks, and enjoy the show. So I'm going to continue in my analysis of the origins of the various Archdevils. This time we're going to cover Monster Manual 2, today on Greyhawk Ragnarok. So I had so much fun doing the last one of these that I knew I had to continue on. And we're going to jump right into it with Belial. According to the Monster Manual 2, Great Belial rules from the fourth hell. He is firmly in the camp of Baalzebul, hating Geryon nearly as much as he does Moloch. Also, Belial must guard against the machinations of Mammon, so he does not have freedom to act. From his basalt palace, Belial dictates the disposition of the Abishai, barbed, bearded, boned, and spying devils populating the reeking fens and smoking plains of his realm. That's a wonderfully evocative term. So what we get here is we have a couple of different things. Belial is one of the demons that is mentioned in the Bible. In a number of different places, there is a phrase, Bene Belial, which in Hebrew means worthless people. And it's an idiom, which means sons of Belial. So, when you would say sons of Belial when you really mean worthless people. It's all over the places in Deuteronomy and um, uh, Samuel and Judges and all kinds of places like that. So it's firmly in there as a demon name. However, we also find it in Anton LaVey's Satanic Bible. It is the name of one of the books in the Bible, in his Bible, the Book of Belial, Mastery of the Earth. And here, LaVey claims that Belial means without a master and symbolizes true independence, self-sufficiency, and personal accomplishment. Belial represents the earth element, and herein will be found magic. Yeah, okay. So it's going on about what's going to be in that book. So two very, very different views, as you might imagine. We also see Belial in the Dictionary of Angels. Belial in the book of Belial, this great fallen angel, often equated with Satan, is pictured presenting his credentials to Solomon, also dancing before the Hebrew king. And if you can see that, that's a pretty famous image, and that is Belial dancing before Solomon. So that's a neat thing. In the New Testament, we're told what Concord has Christ with Belial, where they're talking about they're trying to make the pitch that you can't have evil within a good house, which is a nice thing. He appears in Paradise Lost, where Milton says, "A fairer person lost not heaven, he seemed, for dignity composed and high exploit, all was false and hollow." And there's a few other things in here too. We find Belial also in the Lesser Key of Solomon, uh, where the 68th spirit is Belial. He is a mighty and powerful king and was created next after Lucifer, which kind of jives with what we read there. He appeareth in the form of two beautiful angels sitting in a chariot of fire. He speaketh with a comely voice, and declareth that he fell first from among the worthier sort that were before Michael and other heavenly angels. His office is to distribute presentations and senatorships, etc., and to cause favor of friends and of foes. He giveth excellent familiars and governeth 80 legions of spirits. Note well that this King Belial must have offerings, sacrifices, and gifts presented unto him by the exorcist, or he will not give true answers unto his demands. But then he tarrieth not 1 hour in the truth, unless he be constrained by divine power, and his seal is thus, which should be worn as aforesaid. Yeah. And there's the seal of Belial up in the corner there. So we get this impression that Belial is not quite on a par with the kings of with Satan or whoever is the ruler of hell in the Dungeons and Dragons case, Asmodeus, and that that kind of is reflected in the fact that he doesn't rule he's not an independent archdevil, but he is one of Beelzebul's vassals. So so yeah, there we are with Belial. Next up, we have Mammon, and Mammon. According to the Monster Manual too, Mammon is the king of Hell's third plane. He and Despoter are supposedly allies and jointly support Mephistopheles, but neither has ever failed to obey Asmodeus. It is also doubtful that Mammon places real trust in Despoter. Mammon's realm is a boundless series of rifts with slime streams along the bottoms, hot ash falls from spurting volcanoes scattered all over these badlands. Over this grim domain, Mammon rides a nightmare of largest size with a pack of hellhounds at his heels, and he seeks trophies of the hunt. Obviously, mammon is a word that is found in most translations of the Bible, not the one I have here, but it's equated with greed, with riches, with wealth, and it's taken on the connotation of a personification of wealth and greed, and you see that a lot in its different uses. Where we have you cannot serve both God and mammon, meaning you can't serve God and be avaricious. You can't be greedy. Um, he does appear in the Dictionnaire Infernal. Mammon, demon of avarice. It is he, said Milton, who first taught men to tear the bosom of the earth to tear out the treasures. And we've got this uh, kind of Dickensian looking picture of Mammon in there, but that's in keeping with the usage of wealth and the personification of wealth and greed. Um, we are looking at the Dictionary of Angels. Mammon, in occult lore, a fallen angel now ruling in hell, is one of the arch demons and prince of tempters. In he is he is certified as Hell's ambassador to England, uh, which is neat. Um, he is equated with Lucifer, Satan, Beelzebub, and even with Nebuchadnezzar. Um, Saint Francesca observed in one of her 93 visions that he holds the throne of this world. Um, uh, Mammon led them on. Mammon. Then we have in Paradise Lost, Mammon led them on. Mammon, the least erected spirit, and that fell from heaven. Even in heaven, his looks and thoughts were always downward bent. Now, one interesting thing here, for many many years, people thought that Mammon was actually a Canaanite god or a Phoenician god, but in modern years, it's come to be realized that there is no proof that Mammon was anything other than a phrase used to refer to wealth, and then later on became that personification of wealth and greed. So but and that's how he appears in the demonologies. So we don't really see that connection with great wealth in the Monster Manual. You're looking at his treasure type. He's only got treasure types H and R, so nothing particularly amazing. It's not like H times 10 or whatever, which I would have expected to see. But he's basically just another archdevil, with a place in the scheming and politicking, but without any real domain, if you know what I mean. An archdevil without portfolio. So next up we have Mephistopheles. Um, in the Monster Manual, the eighth hell is ruled by Mephistopheles. His main aim is to wrest the seventh plane from Beelzebul, and with the strength thus gained, challenge Asmodeus for the overlordship of all the hells. His great iron citadel in the ice mountains of the frozen plain is a place of much plotting and intrigue. The eighth hell's outer marches of oozing slime and the steaming fringe beyond, from whence come Mephistos, Malebranche, and pit fiends, are said to be a constant source of worry to him. So get a couple of things in there. First of all, is the alternate name Mephisto. We see this. There was a movie, the Mephisto Waltz. Mephistopheles is usually a stand-in for Satan. Usually, sometimes an agent of Satan. Sent to Earth. And of course, most people know. Mephistopheles from Faust, from the Faust legend. There's Gotha, there's Marlowe, there's a number of different versions of the Faust tale, but Mephistopheles is the demon who fulfills Faust's desires in exchange for his soul. And that's the whole point of the legend. What I didn't realize, though, until I was doing the research for this, according to the Dictionary of Angels, we get a little more on Mephistopheles. His name meaning "he who loves not the light." The name is originally Hebrew, is derived from Mephiz, meaning destroyer, and Tophel, meaning liar. Mephistopheles is a fallen angel, one of the seven great princes of hell. And according to Cornelius Agrippa, the great medieval occultist, Mephistopheles stands under the planet Jupiter. His regent is named Zadkiel, who is an enthroned angel of the holy Jehovah. Now, couple interesting things here. You'll notice that first Hebrew word, Mephiz. I think I can't be sure of this, but it really seems to me like that's the origin of the word Mephit, which is a group of small demonic like fiend like things that are in the lower planes. It first appeared in the Fiend Folio created by Martin Stollery. I can't imagine that the name Mephit didn't derive from that somehow. It just seems too coincidental. But also, I didn't know that the name Mephistopheles comes from before the Faust legend. I thought it was originally invented for the Faust legend, but apparently not. In Akkadian religion, the Maschim are the seven great princes of hell, otherwise known as the seven spirits of the abyss, of whom it is said that although their seat is in the depths of the earth, yet their voice resounds on the heights, and that they will reside in the immensity of space. Mephistopheles is one of the seven. And it gives um, a reference here to Lenormant's Chaldean magic and a couple other places. So I'd never realized that it's actually predates Faust. But we get the idea of a very powerful stand-in for the head of the hells. But here he's trying to challenge Asmodeus, which is an interesting twist on it. Um, and of course, it's got another one of those great images in the monster manual. But so we don't really get a lot of detail, reflective of the Faust legend in Mephistopheles in the monster manual. But it's nice to know that there is that continuity going back even further than Faust. And last but not least, we come to Moloch. According to the Monster Manual 2, Moloch is a Grand Duke, Viceroy of Baalzebul, and the Lord of Hell's sixth plane. He is as strong as a hill giant and attacks by grabbing and crushing or piercing with his huge hands and taloned fingers, and then by biting with his sharp-toothed maw. Moloch carries a six-tailed whip made of unknown pliable metal that delivers electrical damage when it hits. Now, obviously, the you know about Moloch from the Bible if you've read the Bible. Moloch was one of the chief deities of the Canaanites that the Hebrews were very much against, and a lot of this comes from Leviticus chapter 20. Um, okay, so the Lord spoke unto Moses, saying, say to the people of Israel, any one of the people of Israel or of the strangers who sojourn in Israel, who gives any of his children to Molech in this translation, shall surely be put to death. The people of the land shall stone him with stones. I myself will set my face against that man, and will cut him off from amongst his people, because he has given one of his children to Moloch, to make my sanctuary unclean and profane my holy name. And if the people of the land do at all close their eyes to that man, when he gives one of his children to Moloch, and do not put him to death, then I will set my face against that man and against his clan, and will cut them off from among their people, him and all those who follow him in whoring after Moloch. Um, and Moloch is associated, obviously, with child sacrifice. In recent years, there's been some discussion as to whether or not Moloch is a real deity. It seems to be that there was an Akkadian deity that fits the name, but it's nowhere else associated with child sacrifice, so that kind of weakens the argument that they're the same. But then again, there's no other alternative real interpretations. I mean, one scholar, I believe, said that Moloch wasn't a deity so much as a sacrificial ritual. I don't know. I'm not a biblical scholar. I don't don't even play one on TV, but I think the overall impression is that Moloch is a deity. We do get to see Moloch in the Dictionnaire Infernal. The Dictionary Infernal. They have this lovely cow-headed version of Moloch there. Prince of the Land of Tears, member of the Infernal Council, he was worshipped by the Ammonites under the figure of a bronze statue seated in a throne of the same metal, with a calf's head surmounted by a royal crown. His arms were extended to receive human victims. They were sacrificed. Sacrificed children. In Milton, so talking about Paradise Lost, Moloch is an awful and terrible demon covered with the cries of mothers and children's blood. The rabbis claim that in the interior of the statue of the famous Moloch, god of the Ammonites, 7 kinds of cabinets had been arranged, one open for the flower, another for the doves, the third for the sheep, a fourth for a man, and the fifth for a calf, the sixth for an ox, and the seventh for a child. This gave rise to the confusing of Moloch with Mithras, with his 7 mysterious gates with 7 chambers. I've never heard that before, but okay. About the mixing up of Moloch with Mithra. When one wanted to sacrifice children to Moloch, a great fire was lit in the interior of the statue, but in order not to hear their plaintive cries, the priests made a great sound of drums and other instruments around the idol. Pleasant chap. And then in the Dictionary of Angels, we have Moloch, a fallen angel in Paradise Lost, where he is described as the fiercest spirit that fought in heaven, now fierce by despair. In Hebrew lore, he is a Canaanitish god of fire to whom children were sacrificed. Solomon built a temple to him. So again, we don't really see in Dungeons and Dragons the biblical association of child sacrifice, but the fact that he is, kind of a fearsome, very hands-on fighter type, kind of does add and lend to that impression of just being, a fierce, savage warrior. So you do kind of get a little bit of a reflection of it. So there we are. Those are the remaining Archdevils. On that note, we are told that Moloch is a Grand Duke, which is an interesting thing because he seems to be the only Grand Duke that we see stats for in the Monster Manual 2. We get a number of Dukes of Hell, and they're kind of a lower stature. But he's also listed as an Archdevil. So there seems to be kind of a hierarchy, as one would expect in lawful evil hell, of you have Dukes, Grand Dukes at the same level as Archdevils. So it's an interesting little thing there. So anyway, there we are with the Archdevils. Hope you enjoyed this one. I might go on and do the Dukes of Hell that we have in the Monster Manual 2 if folks seem to like this series. So let me know what you think in the comments. I hope you're finding the look into the occult and literary antecedents of these figures from D&D lore to be interesting. I know I'm learning stuff by doing the research for it, so I hope you're having fun with it. Hope you're doing well, and have a wonderful day. Thanks for watching today's video. Please remember to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Below you'll find links to my Patreon, which helps make these videos possible. You'll also find the web store where you can buy my books, and my blog where you'll find all sorts of free downloads and other articles. Thanks, and have a great day.